Well, welcome back, and we've been talking, looking at the National Assembly, the Commission at the National Assembly, and George Ake is still very much here with us. We're looking at the police action as well as the actions of the members of the National Assembly. I'll take a quote from Emmanuel Ojukwu in his response to Amnesty International report on the rights abuses of the police. He says, of a truth, torture or ill treatment is not, repeat, not an official policy of the Nigerian police, end of quote. Now, talking about official policy of the Nigerian police, even though some of those actions we saw from members may also be termed as non-official policy of the police, I still want us to look at some of these issues before we get into the tear gas episode rather. The conduct of the police is something that I still want us to look at. We'll come back to scaling of the fence, which you started off with. How would they have, or should they have conducted themselves on that particular day when they got there?
Well, the way they should have conducted themselves is, since the policy, the operational policy that was on ground that particular day was restricted entry and controlled, the control of vehicular and human traffic, is to make sure that everybody who gets into that place is, one, a genuine House of Assembly, House of Representative or National Assembly member, whether it's in Senate or in House of Representative. Two, and make sure that no offensive thing was brought in. Because, you can't put that past politicians that, if they envisaged that there was going to be trouble. Because I noticed that one of them was saying, in short, his language, quote unquote, well, if they move that motion to them, I'm going to kill somebody. So, it's like there was something they were expecting. Indeed, that...
Just as the police also were expecting something.
Beautiful. The police was expecting something based on the intelligence report they got. And like I said at the beginning of this thing, that what eventually transpired now vindicated whoever wrote that intelligence report. He was right, dead right. So it's not like it was a fluke, right? But you see, let's quickly move into the issue of tear gas, because I know that quote you brought up now is going to take us into why did the police use tear gas. I can on my own say that if the police is overwhelmed and that those people, whether they are lawmakers or hoodlums or whatever name you call them, have overwhelmed the police needed to rein them in and demobilize them. So if they like I use myself, if for any reason I begin to conduct myself in an unruly manner and I'm tear gassed, I will not complain. Note that those tear gas, the tear gas canisters, were supplied to the police to be able to handle situations where there is likelihood of mayhem. It's not for the students that are probably protesting about their school fees. It's not for the market women that are protesting demolition of their church, of their stores, or for road transport workers alone. It can also, like I said in my intro, that the law is no respecter of persons. If the honorable members have conducted themselves in such a manner that they need to be reined in, the use of tear gas is permissible.
Was the police?
That is why in every law, go and look at our statute book. It says any person. It doesn't talk about if you are an honorable member or if you are not. It says any person. That's how every criminal law starts. That does A, B, C, D, has committed an offense and is on conviction is liable to such and such imprisonment or such and such penalty. It doesn't talk about, okay, the tear gas is probably for hoodlums. In any case, what if there is a fusion of hoodlums and supposedly honorable members, as evidenced in what they were doing?
Did the police behave themselves in such a way that the honorable members would have listened to them?
I used that example that if, for instance, you were coming to work and you notice that this place has been cordoned off, I don't think you will come out of your car and throw away, whatever cordon it is that the police have put there. You probably will find out why. And especially if they are not stopping you, they are asking you that you should subject yourself to a check. And what I have always said is that the honorable members cannot inherit a right that is higher than those of the people who send them there. So if the police is a constituted authority, they should also be respected.
Isn't this about the speaker leaving the ruling PDP? Because I still don't understand what will make sense.
It's a major undercurrent.
I still don't understand what will make a better sense for someone introducing himself. I'm George A.K. Can I have access to my house? The next thing should be perhaps have a check, frisk you if they had to do all of that and let you in. But we didn't see that.
Yeah, that's an aspect that I think the police probably did not handle well. Like I said initially, they were overwhelmed. They shot the place and retreated. You notice that that man, who probably was their officer, was like retreating. He probably would want to consult his superiors. What do we do in the circumstance?
Even though we couldn't hear him, he was talking back, and from his countenance, it wasn't even a good address he was giving to the speaker.
Oh, well.
I'm happy you watched the video you're talking about, because I also watched the video.
Yes. You see, that's an aspect I think the police goofed. But my understanding of it is that he probably wanted to talk to probably his superiors with regard to how do we handle this situation.
The question will be, Mr. Eke,
yes.
Were they armed? Were they holding sticks and guns and what have you that we will say they were overwhelmed? What was overwhelming them?
The crowd.
The crowd.
You say you didn't watch just a number of the clips. Let me tell you another clip. I'm sure
just a moment. Perhaps we should play the clip that we have back, because the crowd of people that we saw there, unless of course we don't really know who the lawmakers are. I mean, a lot of people say that these people that we saw at the gate were all legitimate lawmakers. There are over 360, about 360 of them in the National Assembly. So if the police were coming to screen 360 lawmakers, we would assume that they will have the crowd or the resources or the capacity to be able to screen 360 members of the House of Representatives, not to add the 109 from the Senate. We're looking at close to 500 people. What was overwhelming the police?
So, in other words, are you saying that the number was too much for the police, or you are thinking it's too little?
That's the question.
But you have built up a number that looks like it is huge.
That's the question I'm posing to you. I mean, the people that we're seeing here are barely over how many people can we count here? That's the question. I mean, they're a fraction of the actual lawmakers. So the question would be, what was overwhelming the police? Did they not know how many lawmakers they have in the National Assembly?
Good. Also, juxtapose that, compare it or put it in comparison with the number of police people that were in this particular game. The police was all over the place.
Did the police come prepared for this or not? What exactly was over? Look at them. That's the number of policemen we have there. They're quite a number as well, compared with that crowd, if that's the mocking crowd.
That were at different points.
The lawmakers that were coming in and tear gas was fired at.
Malcolm, they were at different points. And we're talking about those that were exactly at the point in time where the speaker was now introducing himself. If you notice that there were just about 4 or 5
yes.
of them.
We're asking about this particular one now, because at this point, tear gas was fired here. In fact, that's what our visuals are trying to capture. Tear gas was fired here at this crowd. This was the crowd the police couldn't handle, that was overwhelming the Nigerian police.
No. We are talking about at that particular purpose. This place, not all the police people were here.
So can we say that we can justify firing the tear gas at this particular point?
If this
is not all the people, like maybe it was at that first point that there was a really huge crowd and this was all the people that were able to get through the gate, can we justify the firing of tear gas at this particular point in time?
Malcolm, is a judgmental issue. If the police at that point in time felt overwhelmed and they needed to disperse them,
they needed to disperse with the lawmakers.
Of course, let's take a moment.
If they must defend the National Assembly from good. Like I told you, that could be a fusion of thuggery and lawmaking.
Okay, now let's listen.
Which is what we saw there.
Let's listen to Alhaji Lai Mohammed. He's the spokesperson for the All Progressives Congress. He has also been speaking on this. We have him here on tape.